Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 607th Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Straight away you'll see this is a Barbarian invasion battle, and what I thought I would do is show you a little bit of Barbarian invasion if you've never played it before. As you know, we play Rome Total War every Friday and Saturday night, but Sundays we play a bit of Barbarian invasion and Medieval Total War 2. So as I say, you can see this is a Barbarian invasion battle today, and if you've never seen a Barbarian invasion before, you never played it, I thought I'd just show you a few things with it. There you can see you don't get many maps on Barbarian Invasion. If you notice, if you look closely, you'll see they're the same maps as what you get on Rome Total War, but they're like a slimmed down version. You'll only see there's only a couple of flat maps there. The rest of the maps are all hilly. So as I say, it's a slimmed down version of the Rome Total War maps. I always thought to myself, it's like they've almost forgot to add all the maps they should do for this particular game. As you can see, it is very restricted, and as I say, there's only a couple of flat maps there. Okay, and here are all the factions that you can choose from. Okay, you can see there all the different factions. You've got the Huns there. Their infantry is so rubbish that we gave these guys a 10 heavy cavalry max and 2 horse archers on top of that. So because no matter what upgrades you put on their infantry, they're not very good. You've got the Goths, you've got the Sarmatians there. Let's say lots of different factions. You've got the Saxons, the Franks, the Vandals. There, see all the different factions there that you can choose from and learn. Like, and there's the Romano-British. That's a particular faction I'm bringing today. You've got the Burgundi faction there. The Berbers are probably the weakest faction in the game. We've tried to use different variations of armies there, but they're all pretty rubbish. And there you are. You've got 4 Roman factions that you can choose from as well. And each one of those factions got their own strengths and weaknesses, especially with cavalry. Okay, so that's the factions that you can choose from there if you actually ever fancy playing the game. As I say, every Sunday evening we play this if you fancy coming on and just giving it a go. And here we're going to have a look at the Huns faction. Can you see here that the cavalry there have got 66 men in each unit there? As I say, their infantry, no matter what upgrades you put on their infantry, is pretty rubbish there. But if you notice, you've got 66 men in each cavalry unit instead of the 54. So you get, an extra 12 cavalry per cavalry unit there if you choose the Huns faction. So as I say, for Huns we allow 10 heavy cavalry plus 2 horse archers as well there, and you can actually make a all cavalry army up there. As I say, their infantry is not very good. Their horse archers there, those Hunnic elite warriors, absolutely excellent horse archers there. So that's I just thought I'd show you the kind of like the internal workings of Barbarian Invasion. If ever you fancy joining us on a Sunday evening, it would be great to see you. And here we are on the Germanic Forest map, and our first teammate is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has bought the Roman Western Empire. Now Mad King has got 13 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, 13 infantry and 6 cavalry here. Just like to show you his infantry there. As you can see, he's got the Plumbartri. Remember, these Plumbartri units can throw 810 effective against armor metal tipped darts called Plumbarti. So they got a heck of a lot of firepower there. Okay, but also I'd like to show you the other units that he's got. Can you see he's got the Auxiliare Palatina with 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, now these guys can form a shield wall, and as you can see, they've got spears, so they're anti-cavalry, but when they form a shield wall, they can be very effective against enemy infantry as well. So they're really versatile troops, these guys are, as you will see during the course of the battle. If you notice here, he's got a religious unit. Remember what we've talked about before? Morale is so important on Barbarian Invasion. To bring a religious unit to give your troops that extra morale bonus really can make a difference to keeping your troops fighting and stopping mass routes. And he's got the Sarmatian Auxiliary Cavalry. These are pretty good cavalry. So he's just got gold shield, gold attack on them, and they can be pretty effective as well. So I think that's a pretty good Roman army there of Mad Kings, and it'll be interesting to see how well he does during the course of the battle. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Man 2. Now Man 2 has got 15 infantry and 5 cavalry. Okay, 15 infantry and 5 cavalry. Nice to see Man 2 back on the Barbarian Invasion and Rome Total War battlefields after having a long break. and if you notice here, you'll see that he's got a spear unit here, okay, which I'm going to guess he's going to put in as his pilot shield unit there. Of course, being a spear unit will put off cavalry from attacking. He's only got 3 upgrades on, so I'm guessing he's got gold defense on that particular unit. And as I say, my guess is he will use that as pilot shield unit there. So there's his army. And our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has unusually bought the Romano-British faction. Okay, now this is quite an interesting faction. I very rarely bring this, but for this particular battle I thought I'd give it a go. Okay, and it's, as I say, a faction you don't see bought on the battlefield much. You can see that you've got the Bucellari, if that's how you pronounce it, Bucellari crossbowmen. They fire effective against armor crossbow bolts, but they are only short range. Okay, so you've got to take them basically up to the enemy for them to get into range. And then I've got the my infantry there, the British Legionnaires. They can throw pilers. You can see them, those pilers clipped to the back of their shields, so they can throw pilers effective against armor pilers there, so they're pretty good infantry. And of course I've got a religious unit there, the monks, as I say, to bring that extra morale to my troops, to try and stop mass routing there, which is a problem in this game because morale is so important, so you need a religious unit there. But I think what the main strength of this army is the Grail Knights. Okay, now you only get 32 of these guys. As you know, most cavalry units in this game are 54. You only get 32 of these because they're so elite cavalry. You'll notice I've got 7 upgrades on. Now these guys, I think, have got something like a massive 16 attack, a massive 32 defense, and a 7 charge bonus. Okay, so make no mistake, these cavalry are really elite cavalry there. So there's my Romano-British army. As I say, it's got the potential to be a really great battle, and I hope you enjoy it. And just before we introduce the enemy team, I'd just like to say welcome to Pertevnial here. A lot of you know Pertevnial. He usually plays Rome Total War, but Sunday evening he came on to Barbarian Invasion with us and played 4 or 5 really good battles with us on Barbarian Invasion. So it's nice to see Pert come on to Barbarian Invasion to give it a try. And I think he really enjoyed the battle. And in this particular battle, because there was only 7 of us, he's volunteered to actually spectate the battle. Okay, so thanks very much to him for that. Okay, our first enemy team is Brotherhood member First Prime, who's bought the Roman Eastern Empire army. Now he's got 16 infantry and 4 cavalry. Okay, 16 infantry and 4 cavalry. You'll see that he's got a spear unit on the front of his battle formation there to try and put off cavalry attack. And then he's got his his infantry then in behind that spear unit there. So don't forget 16 infantry, 4 cavalry there. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Danny. Now Danny has got 14 infantry and 5 cavalry. Okay, 14 infantry and 5 cavalry. Just like to show you here, can you see that he's bought the Orthodox priests there, once again to give extra morale to his troops. And I know we've talked about this a lot, but morale is so important on Barbarian Invasion to try and stop mass routes. Also, have a look at his cavalry there, and you can see he's got the Equitide Clibanarii cavalry with their effective against armor maces. Remember, with most cavalry, you charge them into infantry, they do the damage, and you pull them out quickly so they don't get killed by infantry. Well, these guys, these cavalry are so tough, you can actually leave them in fighting infantry, and they'll still do really good with their effective against armor maces. That's how tough these Equitide Clibanarii are. So make no mistake, those are elite cavalry there. Okay, and their last teammate is Brotherhood member Barclayman. Now, Barclayman's got the Saxons factions. He's got 17 infantry and 3 cavalry. 17 infantry and 3 cavalry there. So obviously gone very heavy on the infantry there. Most of his army is hiding in the woods. But you can see that he's got his levy spearmen, 120-man units at the front of his battle formation. These guys can throw spears. And as I say, there's 120 of them, so they make good pilot shield units as well. And I see for his general, he's got a Saxon Hearth troops there, and they are elite infantry there. As you can see, his general there stood in amongst those Hearth troops there. So those are elite infantry. The rest of his army are hiding in the woods, which we will see later. So there's the enemy team. It's got the potential to be a cracking battle, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I thought we'd show you how we'd set up our team here. If you notice, my 2 Roman allies are in front of my main army there, and I've kept my army at the rear. And the reason for that is because I my army would suffer a lot of damage from enemy Roman troops there. So if you notice, that's my battle formation there with my priests at the rear to give morale to my troops, and I've got my cavalry locked and loaded at the back of my battle formation there. Let's say my archers at the front are kind of like a bit of a pilot shield unit there. And if you notice, as I say, I'll keep my army at the back of my Roman allies. If you notice here, Barclayman's done exactly the same with his Saxon army. His troops would be very susceptible to missile damage there. Theirs is effective against armour axemen there, and they do exactly what it says on the tin. They can cut wide swathes through heavily armoured troops like Roman troops. Okay, so as I say, he keeps his Saxon troops behind his two Roman allies there. As I say, because the Roman allies are so heavily armoured, look, they can take the missiles better than our troops can. So that's why he's put his Saxon troops in behind his Roman allies, the same as I've put my Romano-British army in behind my allies there. Okay, so as I say, both Roman armies on both teams there can throw a heck of a lot of missiles, so it's best to keep my army out of the way. There's something else I want to show you here as well. If you notice here, can you see Mad King is moving his cavalry into the woods here? Okay, now he's hoping one of two things there. A, he's hoping that maybe the enemy might not have noticed him moving his cavalry in the woods, so that he can spring a nasty ambush from the woods when he's ready. Or, if they've spotted him moving into the woods, if he hides his cavalry, he'll hope that during the course of the battle, they'll forget that his cavalry is hidden, and he can still spring that nasty ambush from the woods. As I say, that's why I like this Germanic Forest so much, this map so much, is because you can fight on the big open plains we've seen on loads of different battles, but also you can hide your troops in the woods and spring those really nasty ambushes that can make a big difference to a game. So as I say here, you can see Mad King moving his cavalry into the woods, maybe looking to smash into the flank of the engaged enemy troops once we get engaged here. Okay, so as I say, what he's hoping is A, they might not notice him moving his cavalry into the woods, and B, if they have noticed it, then hopefully they'll forget his cavalry are hiding in the woods during the course of the battle. And if we look here, you'll see them gradually disappear as they hide in the woods there. Now you see them, and now you don't. There you go, so they're completely hidden there, and as I say, he'll be hoping that the enemy, even if they've seen him deploy his cavalry there, will forget them, that they're there, and then he can just spring an ambush straight into the flank of the engaged enemy troops once we get into hand-to-hand fighting. Okay, at this stage of the battle, you can see that, as you remember, Mad King's got his cavalry hiding in the woods there, and hoping that the enemy might not have spotted it. But actually, Barclayman has spotted it, and if you notice here, he's moving his two, I think his four actual levy spearmen units over there to try and neutralize and counter any particular cavalry attack that might come from the woods. So as I say, Mad King was hoping that they might have forgotten that he's hidden his cavalry in the woods there, but as you can see, Barclayman has not forgotten it and has moved his spear units over there to try and counter it. Okay, you can see Danny moving forward here. Now, Danny, as we know, is usually a very aggressive and attacking player here, and as you can see, him starting to move towards Man 2's army here, probably with a view to start exchanging missile fire, I would think. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So as I say here, you can see him moving his army forward here towards Man 2, as I say, and you can see First Prime moving forward as well. And as I say, you can see Barclayman here putting those four spear units out there, ready to counter any cavalry attack there by Mad King. So Mad King's going to have to be very careful how he uses his cavalry there. Okay, but as I say here, you can see Danny moving forward here. I'm thinking that they're going to start to exchange missiles pretty soon. You can see that spear unit at the front there starting to throw missiles, but you can see also there, if you look up at the sky, just look at those missiles raining in on each of the armies there. I mean, look at those darts there, those effective against armour metal tipped darts being thrown in there. It's almost like it's raining darts from one side to the other there. So both teams here are going to be, both armies here are going to be suffering a lot of casualties there from those effective against armour missiles. Just look up at the sky there. Look at those effective against armour darts raining down onto the, especially here onto the enemy team here. You can see that's an 82-man unit. It's been reduced to 14 men there. And look how that unit's being reduced even more, down to 8 men now, and they haven't even got into hand-to-hand contact. It's just the actual missiles are down to 6 men now, look, from 82, just from missile damage. Now they're down to 5 men there. and you can see that Danny's moved another unit in front of them there, but that one unit's down to 4 men now, look, from 82, just from missile damage there from the enemy troops. Okay, so as I say, when Roman armies face each other, the amount of missiles they can throw into each other is absolutely amazing, and that's why you don't want to get your barbarian troops or other troops involved in that type of fighting, because the Romans will decimate your infantry before you get into hand-to-hand fighting there. Okay, so as I say, I've got my Romano-British army in behind my Roman allies there, ready to move forward when needed there, but as I say, my Roman allies are taking the bulk of the missile damage there. As I say, that spear unit there of Man 2's taking a lot of damage, but still standing its ground there, and you can see it looks to me like maybe Danny's troops seem to me to have suffered more casualties than the Man 2's there. I'm not sure what you think. Just like to show you something here. You know, we call Bark sneaky Bark sometimes. Well, look what he's doing here. He's taking his 3 cavalry units very slowly but very steadily round our flank to get in behind us there. And what I think he's hoping there, he's going to sneak those cavalry in behind us, and when we get into hand-to-hand fighting, he'll smash those 3 cavalry into the rear of our engaged infantry there. So that's what Barclayman's doing. Notice he's not running, he's just moving very slowly there, hoping that we might not notice it, but we do notice it. And as you can see here, Danny moving forward. As we know, Danny, very, very aggressive player, and he's moving forward here. And now they're going to really start exchanging missiles, I think, even more now, as Danny advances onto the forward units of Man 2. Okay, as I say, you can see the missiles there coming in as Danny advances there, as I say, into the forward units. That spear unit of Man 2's there that he used as a pilot shield unit has just been routed there. You can see that running away, but as I say, you can still see a lot of missiles coming in from both teams there. So as I say, a lot of missile damage there to both teams, to both arms there. Right, you can see my effective against armour crossbowmen there are starting to shoot into the enemy, firing those, as I say, effective against armour crossbow bolts into the enemy there. And as I say, you can still see a lot of missile being thrown in from both armies there. Okay, but as I say, Danny very aggressive there. Now, whether Man 2 is going to counter-attack with his infantry, we'll just have to wait and see. As I say, you can see Barclayman's effective against armour axemen there, ready to be thrown into the fray at any time. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So, let's say, if you notice here, can you see that First Prime has kind of moved in a little bit closer to Danny? He's moved back, but moved closer to Danny here. And what I'm thinking here, looking at the disposition of the enemy armies, I think they're going to try and smash Man 2 here. Just look at those Saxon troops and all that cavalry mass there. And as I say, First Prime has folded in a little bit to be closer to Danny to be able to help. If you just have a look at the spearmen here, these Auxiliare Palatina of Mad King, you'll see that he's got them in shield wall. See how tight those formations of shield walls are. So not only are those shield wall spearmen there effective against cavalry, they are really effective against infantry as well. They can hold infantry up for a long time in that shield wall formation. So it'll be interesting to see how Mad King uses them against the enemy troops. But as I say, looking at the disposition of the enemy troops, it looks to me that they're going to try and hit Man 2 here. And we'll have to see what Man 2 is going to do about that. Is he going to stand there and wait for the attack, or is he going to be aggressive and attack them? Because as I say, Man 2 can be a very aggressive attacking player as well as Danny. So as I say, they could both maybe be very aggressive here on this particular side of the battle. But as I say, there's still missiles being exchanged between the two armies at the moment, still causing a lot of casualties to each other with their effective against armour missiles that they're both throwing. And as I say, you can see Barclayman's axemen there ready to be thrown into the fray as soon as he thinks is the best time. But as I say, Man 2 there, he could well attack. As I say, I've got my Romano British army just behind Man 2's army, and there you can see Man 2's now decided to attack. As I say, very aggressive Man 2 can be, as well as Danny, so I wasn't surprised to see Man 2 charging his infantry forward. It wouldn't surprise me if he did an all-out attack where he runs his infantry straight into the forward units of Danny here. So if you notice here, I've moved my Romano British army up very close behind Man 2, and there you can see Man 2 is now attacking. He's now pushing his army into the forward units of Danny. There, nice aggressive move there by Man 2. there. And as I say, I've got my army right up behind him there, ready to move in. Now, just to show you, can you see what we looked at Barclayman's cavalry units here? Those 3 cavalry units taking him slowly but steadily round behind us. And I'm sure he'll get there, and just when he decides it's the right time, he's going to smash into the rear of our engaged troops. Now, could that be a pivotal part of the battle, what he's going to do with that cavalry? I guess we'll just have to wait and see as the battle unfolds. And as I say, don't forget, Mad King's cavalry are hiding in the woods there, ready to charge out. But as I say, you can see Barclayman's got his spearmen there to counter that cavalry attack. So Mad King's going to have to aim his cavalry really carefully here to avoid those spearmen, obviously with their anti-cavalry spearmen bonus there. But as I say, here you can see Man 2 really pushing his red Roman troops into the enemy purple troops there. Okay, and as I say, you can see me bringing my Romano-British army forward. Now remember, my troops can throw pilers as well, so I just want to get in range of the enemy troops there and then start throwing my pilers into the enemy troops as well to weaken them before we actually get into hand-to-hand fighting. And there you can see me throwing those pilers. Remember, those pilers are effective against armour, so I'm going to do a lot of damage there to Danny's forward units of his Roman troops there, which is exactly what I want to do. Try and weaken them as much as I can, and weaken these effective against armour Saxon axemen as well. Now, I'd just like to show you there a great bit of teamwork here by Mad King. Okay, can you see that he's brought his spear shield wall over from his flank over there, and he's now got that shield wall of spearmen there integrated with my army. Okay, make no mistake, that shield wall can be very, very effective. And here, unfortunately, can you see a lot of Man 2's units are starting to rout. Okay, so that is bad for us. Obviously, if Man 2's army starts to mass rout, then of course that will be the end of the battle there. And as I say, you can see a lot of Man 2's units starting to run now with the pressure of Danny's infantry pressing down on them. Okay, plus you've got those effective against armour Saxon axemen in there as well. There, if you notice there, I'm running my Romano-British army forward into Danny's forward units there in an aggressive attack there with my Romano legionnaires there, my Romano-British legionnaires. Okay, so I'm now engaged with Danny's infantry there. Okay, just pause the game for a second here. Okay, so you can see that Man 2 is about to charge his cavalry in there. Going to smash his cavalry into Danny's and possibly First Prime's infantry. Okay, I've got my infantry engaged there. I've got my Grail Knights, make no mistake, they are locked and loaded, just ready for me to pull the trigger, for me to charge them in as well. And if you notice here, can you see that Mad King has broken cover with his cavalry and is now coming out of the woods to charge into the enemy troops there. Okay, now if you notice there, he's going to bypass those spear units, Saxon spear units of Barclayman there, and looks like he's going to smash into the flank of the enemy troops there. Okay, so I hope we're going to get a really good coordinated cavalry attack here, but at the moment Man 2, I believe, has only got 2 infantry units left. The rest of his infantry has now been routed. He's just got 2 infantry units left there, and at the moment my Romano-British troops are the only thing holding the enemy back there. Right, here comes Man 2's cavalry, get ready for this, and bang, and he smashes in there, and you can see Mad King bringing his spear wall army up there as well, and there goes the enemy cavalry charging in there, and bang, as they smash in there as well. So as a really nice cavalry counter-attack there by the enemy. And here you can see Mad King's cavalry coming in, and you can see my Grail Knights coming in as well. I think my Grail Knights are going to hit first. Get ready for this, and bang, as they smash in there, and then Mad King's cavalry comes in there, and bang, as he smashes in, and then you can see Man 2's cavalry charging in as well, and bang, as they smash in there as well. So we've got all our cavalry in a combined cavalry hit there on the enemy team. Look how the enemy troops are starting to rout at this stage of the battle. Okay, so that was a really great coordinated cavalry attack there by our team. That was really good there. All the red Roman cavalry charging in there of my allies, plus my Grail Knights smashing in there as well. So that was really nice. Okay, so let's pause the game. Right, now those 3 Saxon cavalry units of Barclayman that was sneaking round behind us, remember they came round the flank slowly and steadily. They're now going to look like they're going to be charged into the rear of our engaged troops there. He's hoping we won't have noticed them, but I have noticed them, and you'll notice that I'm going to pull my Grail Knights out the rear of my infantry there to try and counter. You can see Mad King charging his infantry in there as well as his cavalry into the enemy troops. But that was a fantastic combined cavalry attack there by the three of us, and that I think caused the enemy a lot of casualties. But here comes that Saxon cavalry, but I've spotted that, and if you've noticed there, I'm bringing my battle damaged Grail Knights out there to counter those Saxon cavalry. Now remember, those Saxon cavalry are only like mediocre cavalry, and they're up against my elite Grail Knights here. So my Grail Knights are alt attack, so I'll be fighting with the swords there. You notice there, can you see alt attack? So I'm not fighting with a light lance, I'm now fighting with a heavy sword. And if you notice there, Barclayman is also alt attacked, and he is using his heavy swords as well there. Okay, but there we go, we managed to rout those Saxon cavalry that were going to come in behind us. That's good news. Another hit here by Mantu's cavalry, and bang, you can see Mad King's cavalry locked and loaded, just ready for that trigger to be pulled for him to charge in there as well. And he'll charge in just when he's right. Let's just pause again for a second here. So you can see that spear wall of Mad King's done extremely well there. Shield wall there, holding the enemy back. You've got my infantry right behind. I'm now going to charge my infantry through that spear wall and attack those enemy troops there. Not going to try and let them reform. You can see Mantu's cavalry charging. You can see Mad King's cavalry locked and loaded, ready to charge in there. And you can see the enemy are starting to pull back a bit here, starting to be pushed back. But there's that spear wall, that shield wall, sorry, of Mad Kings moving forward. Let's pause the game. Okay, you can see a lot of enemy troops starting to rout here, but make no mistake, they could well rally. Okay, those troops there are routing their big units there, and they could well rally and come back into the fray, and that could be bad news for us, because how many times have we seen battles where rallied troops have come back in and turned the course of the battle? Okay, but here you can see we're really charging into the enemy troops. There you can see my Romano British troops moving forward. You can see that shield wall of units there of Mad King. You can see Mad King taking his cavalry around the rear there. You can see I'm charging my Grail Knights forward here. I'm going to charge in with my infantry. It's going to be an infantry and cavalry attack on the enemy Roman troops. Get ready for my Grail Knights to smash in there, and bang, as I smash into that enemy Roman troops. As I say, I'm pushing my infantry forward as well, so it's a combined infantry and cavalry here. You can see my allies' cavalry charging in there as well. Nice hit there. Let's just pause the game for a second here. So you've got Mantu's cavalry charging in there, you've got Mad King's cavalry charging in there, you've got my Grail Knights charging in there as well. Nice, again, a really nice combined cavalry attack there in on the enemy troops there, routing a lot of the enemy troops with our combined cavalry hits. You can see that line of spearmen charging forward, plus my infantry, but you can see those rallied infantry we looked at the rear earlier there. As I say, they've rallied now and they're coming back into the fray. Okay, so you can see them charging back into the fray now. And you can see now they're coming back in, but you can see we're really pushing forward now onto the enemy troops. I mean, really pushing forward. You can see some enemy cavalry got in behind us. Look, and bang, and they're smashing in to my Romano British Legionnaires there. That was a nice hit there by the enemy troops. But maybe I think the cavalry, our cavalry here of our team, has worked together so well that I think we may have tipped this battle with the combination of cavalry attacks that we've been throwing into the enemy here. As I say, the enemy, I think, were very infantry dominant, but I think our cavalry is kind of made up for that area. You can see Mantu's cavalry charging in there, and bang, as he smashed in there with his cavalry there. Nice aggressive hit. You can see my Grail Knights, and you can see Mad King's cavalry coming in there as well. Another combined cavalry hit going in there, and bang, and my Grail Knights are going to hit, and bang, as we smash in there again. Really nice impact there into the enemy troops. We might not have routed a lot of enemy troops there, but we would have caused massive casualties there with that combination cavalry hit. You can see my Grail Knights have penetrated through enemy lines there, and you can see some enemy cavalry coming in behind us there, charging into the rear of our engaged troops. You can see Mantu counter-attacking with his cavalry. I think he's still got his infantry general left, but he's only got 16 men left in his infantry general as we're pushing in there. But as I say, you can see a lot of the enemy troops now starting to rout under the pressure that we've put them under. As I say, the enemy were definitely infantry dominant there. If you remember, look when we looked at their army builds, but our cavalry seems to have made up for that. And there you can see some of Mantu's cavalry there attacking some rallied Barclayman's 2 rallied cavalry units there, and of course my effective against armour crossbowmen will be shooting into them as well. But here you can see Mad King's Red Roman army there charging in towards the Saxon axemen there. Those effective against armour axemen, and as I say, they are very effective against armour troops. And as I say, you can see Mad King getting some battle depleted cavalry maybe in behind the enemy troops there to smash into the rear of their troops there. That would be a good hit there. You can see what's left of my Grail Knights are locked and loaded there. Okay, they're very, very battle depleted, but as I say, they are elite cavalry, and I'm going to smash them into the rear of the enemy troops there. So you see, locked and loaded. I haven't got a lot of my infantry left. A lot of my infantry have been killed. There goes a cavalry hit there, and bang, as that charges in there. Nice angle hit there by Man 2. I can see a couple of my Romano-British infantry starting to rout now under the fray. Right, here comes Mad King's cavalry that he got in behind. He's going to smash into those enemy troops. Nice hit there by him, and bang! As his cavalry smashes in there, you can see Man 2 charging what's left of his cavalry in as well, and bang, as they smash in there as well. And you can see my Grail Knights coming down there as well. They're going to smash into the rear of the enemy troops, and bang, as they smash in there as well. As I say, I think we've used our cavalry extremely well during the course of this battle. Really good combination hits. Notice how we smash in there and then pull our cavalry out of the fray. There, you can see I'm driving my Grail Knights on through the enemy troops here. Can you see my Grail Knights are going to smash up the battle line there, trying to rout all the enemy troops that we've got engaged with us there. And there you can see that's exactly what we've done there. And it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle there. Okay, so as you can see, most of the enemy troops have routed. This was a very condensed, big 3v3 battle. You can see most of the battle was there. There was a little skirmish at the back there where we fought those Saxon cavalry. But here you can see, just by the piles of dead, how intense the fighting was. And bearing in mind, as I say, this is only a 3v3 battle here. So you can see that how intense it was at this particular part of the battle there. Look at all that cavalry piled on top of each other there, where we had that massive cavalry battle, sending our cavalry in all the time. And as I say there, you can just see by the piles of dead the intensity. As I say, it's only a 3v3, but looking at the dead there, it looks more like a 4v4 there, I think. And as I say there, we're just managing to finish off most of the enemy troops. I think when you watch this back, you can see Man 2's only got, I think, 2 infantry units left, and they are extremely battle depleted there. And you see cavalry unit, he's got 2 men left in that cavalry unit. So that goes to show how battle depleted his troops are. As I say, 2 men in that unit there, 6 men in that unit there. So you can see it was a very, very much a battle of attrition there. Mad King still got 90 men left in his unit there. I think it's 90 men there. So he's still got a lot of men left in that unit. So as I say, there's a lot of dead troops there, and as I say, it was a real battle of attrition, I think, there. And here's my troops. Look, that's all the infantry that I've got left. Just 4 units of infantry. I've still got some of my Grail Knights left, but they were very battle depleted. Look, 9 men left there. So this is a real battle of attrition here. So as I say, we've gone on to manage to win the battle there. But I think it was our combined cavalry attacks that did most of the damage there. I don't know what you guys think. That's what I thought. I think most of the damage there was done by our cavalry. Let's just triple speed the game up there, because I think let's say the battle's over now.
The enemy general is dead.
Okay, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. As you might notice there, Pert Tevniel was watching the game, so you don't get what the actual victory was. Let's say when you get somebody spectating, you just get victory when you've won the game there. So that's what you've done there. If you notice, the highest kills in the game goes to Brotherhood member Mad King, 1,627. So got some good kills there. Well done to him there. So that was great. So well done to him, as I say. And you can see First Prime did well there, got some good kills with his Roman army. So well done to First Prime, did extremely well there. Good support in there, I think. And well done to Danny, got some good kills too. Very aggressive right from the beginning of the battle there, both of those guys. Well done to Barclayman with his Saxon army, did well with his axemen there, and He did extremely good and sneaked up with his cavalry. That Romano-British army of mine, 1,475, not bad. Well done to Man 2, got some good kills as well, very aggressive right from the beginning of the battle. And as I say, well done to Mad King, did extremely well there. Just quick have a look at the specifications of my army. If you notice there, the infantry didn't do very good. But if you look at the cavalry kills, they did extremely well there. The Grail Knights did really good there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this battle. As I say, if you look at the kills that the Grail Knights got, really good. As I say, very unusual battle this, as I thought it was a very close battle, and I hope you enjoyed it.